welcome back. Encountering the Unknown, episode 13, I believe now.
Yep.
It's Dr. Paul Evidanian and my wonderful son, Paul Jr. here.
Mm-hmm.
So this episode, we're going to call it The Voice, correct?
Yep.
So I think we left people hanging the last episode about this voice that you had heard when we were, behind Little Round Top.
Mm-hmm.
What was the date around that time?
I think it was like around April or May of 2019, if I recall.
And we were there with our friend Tom. He was there. Shout out to Tom. So let's recap what happened that night.
So I remember there weren't a lot of people there. I remember. And was that the first or last area that we were going to of the night?
I think it was the last. So it was getting towards the time. That's when you could be there till, 10 at night?
Yeah, which was awesome.
Yeah.
We used to love going all the time with that. But yeah, no, we were moving around and everything. Not too busy. And then we got to 20th Main and everything. And I remember like seeing some of the usual guys who were there, some new faces and stuff. Both Union and Confederate, that's also important to say. Then out of nowhere, I remember I heard a very loud voice, and this is just a recap again of what we said in the last episode. I heard a voice, booming, deep voice over everywhere. It was just like, wearing like noise canceling headphones, cranking it up all the way. And the voice was saying, "We know you're here. We can't see you, but we hear you, or we can hear you." Something along those lines. And I remember it was like so booming. It's like when you go to a concert, you feel it like in your chest, you feel like the vibrations and stuff. And I was freaking out a little bit. I remember it was like, oh, too. What the hell was that?
Because we couldn't hear anything. Tom and I were like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Is it somebody at Little Round Top on the tower or something? And you said, no. It's like from the sky.
It was crazy.
All around us, right?
It was crazy. But then also, like, thinking back now, like with the soldiers and how they were reacting to it, like, we told you how they interacted with that winged thing that was flying around, how they were hiding from it, and stuff like this. And it seemed like, thinking back, they did hear this voice also. They were able to pick up on whatever this was. But I don't know if it was more so directed or forwarded towards me or us, because it seemed like more of like a concern to us, at least in that moment.
Well, to you.
And we don't even know if it was this thing talking to us or was it talking to someone. Like, what was it? Was it truly booming over Gettysburg, the noise? Like any spiritual sensitive person would hear that if they were like that, or
I just knew you were really uncomfortable and nervous, and you're like, we need to close this prayer down fast, because you didn't know what was going to happen.
It was crazy. Well, yeah, because it was like I couldn't stop hearing it, and then I remember it started laughing as we were getting away. Like we were driving through like Devil's Den, and we were all through there.
Did we go when you came back around? Maybe.
Yeah.
Or through the wheat field that way. We usually head out too.
Yeah, which was crazy because I just remember hearing the laughs booming, and it was so haunting and eerie to hear something like that, like almost like a mockery of everything that we'd been doing a little bit, which was weird. But then it's like Scooby-Doo. It's a guy with like a microphone with speakers somewhere.
I just remember, and Tom, when we get Tom on, he'll attest how nervous you were.
Oh yeah.
You're like, we got to get out of here like now and close the prayer.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that happened in April or May, and we can even put some of those pictures in from that date.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I'm just trying to keep on adding pictures to each episode for you guys. But continuing on with the story, so around July of 2019. This is where it kind of turns into crazy stuff, but there were these people who we were in contact with back then.
Acquaintances.
A family. And I went with them on a trip for a little vacation for like 5 days or 4 days or something like that.
I think 3 days, but yeah.
It felt like forever.
Yeah.
No. But there were things with this family that I didn't personally like or agree with. And someone's saying something. You saw that flicker, right? No, there's a storm coming. But yeah, no, there were things that I just couldn't agree with, and I felt very uncomfortable with this group. And I don't know, it just seemed like a very hostile situation. In the way they treated other people, I was not very happy about that. I actually wanted to leave. I remember I was getting my stuff all packed up, and it was just a very weird, uncomfortable, not a good time situation. So that happened in July 2019. Then I come back, and I don't know how long after it was. I think it was probably recent after I came back.
Like the next weekend.
Yeah.
We usually would go out on like a Saturday night, when you say.
Friday or Saturday. Yeah, which was fun. And we were in our yard and everything. And I think we were out front talking to Jeffrey, or one of the guys out front in the yard. So I forget, we were probably just shooting the shit with him. Excuse my friends. My friend. Hey, it's okay to have a little blooper in here. But yeah, no, so we were just talking to him for a little bit, and then
whoever, when we open the prayer, whoever Paul would see, right, would come like to you.
Yeah.
So wherever, and we usually went out in the front first. So yeah, a lot of the times it was Jeffrey in the front, Tuariana, like we mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So, but I remember when we were walking, and then I believe, like you said, it was Jeffrey, and then he said, Bill's out back.
Yeah.
Bill really needs to talk to you guys.
Yeah, it was urgent. I remember it was like, you need to talk with Bill, like ASAP. No Rocky.
Yeah.
For those of you who know that reference. But before we made it to Bill, we ran into another soldier in the yard who we haven't really mentioned too much. I think we may have said his name, or just mentioned like 3 Vietnam War soldiers who were like sticking together. And this was one of them, and his name's Chet. And he was there, and he was saying, don't compromise the yard. And I think he was saying something about like people being fake or having facades or something like that. We were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Chet. So we were like, all right. We kind of get this. Then he was very like serious about it and stuff. So then we started to get a little freaked out, just a little bit. And then now knowing everything we do, we take steps, to spiritually protect your yards and stuff. And you can
around your home too.
Yeah, the pink Himalayan salt, doing circles of that, and doing like heal wheels or healing wheels, spirit wheels, stuff like that. There's different methods that you can do, and whatever you believe in, whatever your culture says to do, and stuff like that, which is cool because there's a bunch of diversity right there. But we finally made it to Bill, and he was not happy seeing us. He kept on shaking his head, and he was like, you're lucky. You are so lucky. And I was like, what's the problem? Like, he seemed a little upset with me, and I was like, what did I do? And he was just shaking his head, and he's like, those people who you were with? He's like, they weren't good. He was like, that thing you came in contact or interacted, had an interaction with, he was like, those things are going hand in hand a little bit. That's part of what that thing was, that big voice. It had done something that like managed to get itself there. And so he was just like so upset, and he's like, I'm the guy who's supposed to be with you, but when you're in like the lion's den, when you're putting yourself in there, he's like, there's only so much we can do before it's on you. And I was like, damn.
Well, that's crazy. That's the scary part.
Yeah. It was it was a little weird hearing that and seeing someone so concerned and upset on that side.
Right.
Like, it's one thing if you're like, hey, like, what's going on? Yeah. Like, it was like another parent from the other side, saying, don't do that.
Yeah.
Or you can't do that. And I was still young back then. I mean, I'm still young, but I was younger back then. So what? I was like
You're like
15,
14, almost 15.
Yeah, something like that. Which it was just crazy, and I can still picture him standing there
Just
in our
how
backyard.
intense he was and
Yeah,
talking
just
to you and
how upset he
serious.
looked.
Yeah,
I was like, oh
remember
my
you telling
gosh.
me that.
Yeah, which was crazy. I was like, oh, dang. I was like, this is a new form of whatever. Which is crazy. This is all crazy.
Well,
Like
the
even
knowledge,
just
what what we're talking
yeah.
about. So what did he say? Like what is this thing
So
or things? What like what
he
is
actually
this?
seemed to have like some knowledge about it.
Yeah.
Now he didn't give a name. We kind of like assumed a name or gave it a funny comic name or something. I forget what we called it, like some type of dweller or something like that. But
Yeah,
he was
I think you're right.
basically saying that this thing is like I don't know if it's I don't assume that it's the all powerful negative stuff. I don't think he even said that, but it's strong, whatever it is. Has been doing stuff for a while apparently. And it's got a lot of victims. What, hundreds of thousands of people to maybe like some low millions.
Well, I mean, he didn't. He just said it's in many people,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
what did he say to you? Like how does this happen?
So the way that this happens is usually there's a call out or a cry out to something greater to give guidance, but they don't specify what is giving them guidance. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm in a really dark spot. I need some form of help that's whatever." Like they don't, when you're asking for help, you usually want someone who's positive and a good thing to help you. Like you wouldn't want someone evil to help you. Like you'd want your mom or your dad or your sister or your brother or your friend, your husband or wife, whoever it is. It's usually someone you know and you care about, they care about you, or you want someone to care about you like that. But the thing is, these people, they'll do this call out, which is, inviting things that can have a facade on. And, they say they're good, but then it's like they get manipulated and they get taken advantage of. And this thing, it'll give them a little bit of whatever, like get them out of that spot, or I don't know. There's some type of weird trade-off that goes on. We don't even know exactly what it is, but it is weird because then this thing seeds itself inside of these people, and it basically, we were just talking about it. It almost like copies exactly every living feeling, memory, and like emotion that you experienced, and it copies all of it down and uses it to create this image that you're like still there, but you're really not, because it feeds on the soul. This is what Bill was saying.
Soul. Yeah, these people are soulless.
So, and we're not sure, like, is this thing legit or, but we're getting answers from the other side about this thing.
We're just saying we're not masters of anything.
Of puppets?
Puppets, no, but this is, for Bill to like say that very seriously to you, that this has infiltrated many, many people, hundreds of thousands or millions, and it's growing and it's insidious. It's people don't even know, like you said, they're calling for help or something positive, but a negative entity, power can take over, and that's and like we talked about before, like the lurchers, how they can make you kill themselves
or kill others,
make the person kill themselves or others. I mean, why do people wig out and start
random stuff,
shootings and stuff? We don't know, but this is very scary. That they told us this. I remember that night was very
that was a dark night.
Yeah.
That was like, I remember it felt like still, even just talking about it feels like, brings me back to that exact moment.
We heard that and we're like, what? We started just taking pictures, and that was awesome. And then this has really opened up, and
we didn't know what
your
we were
world,
into.
And things trying to attack you, which was very scary, I'm sure, for a young man.
It's a lot, definitely.
And as a dad or mom, to try and protect your child, your kid, it was kind of scary because you're sort of helpless, and you do the best you can. And in our case, we believe in God. God is great, but other people believe in a creator. And we're not here to talk religion, but there's many religions, and people have many beliefs. But I guess just to, like we said before, to believe in a greater good.
Yeah, greater good
that gives us guidance and protects us.
Yeah.
And our families. So that was a crazy night just talking to him because he was so upset. And then what happened after that?
So then after that, I would say maybe it was, I think it was either the same month or maybe August or September. I was with my twin sister and my mom. We were shopping at like a Giant, getting food or whatever, just at our local Giant, I guess.
So, supermarket.
Yeah. And
for those that don't have Giants around them, but it's taking over.
Acme or whatever you got, Target. So we were just whatever, shopping, and then my sister and I, we broke away from our mom to go get like chips or something. I forget what we wanted, Takis or whatever it was back then.
The time,
the thing that burns your mouth. No, stomach ulcers aren't fun.
No, mouth ulcers definitely.
What
goes in must come out too, so you know that. The thunder. Yeah.
Oh wait, I didn't even hear it. Sorry, everyone, we're getting sidetracked. My sister and I, we were walking into the chip aisle, and so we were on the right side entering, like a car, you're driving, the other cars are coming this way. We were going in, I was pushing the cart, my sister was behind me. I had my head down, but I saw someone was coming this way out of the aisle, towards where the checkout area was behind us. And I remember seeing like khaki pants and a big purple shirt. He was like a heavier guy. And I didn't see his face. Like I had my head like this, just pushing. And I saw like he turned, but he stopped. He stopped his cart for like a quick second. And my twin sister, after that interaction happened, she hit me and she was like, "What the hell was his problem?" And I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't see anything. I saw he stopped, or like his head kind of made a movement, but I didn't see. And she said that he made like a snarl face at me or something. Like he was looking at me, which I was like, "Whoa, what?" I was like, "That's crazy." And she said, "Yeah, he like stopped and he like opened his mouth and really was looking at you intently for a second." And so then I was like immediately on guard. I was like, "I don't know what that is, but not good." And then we told our mom and everything. She's like, "I'll beat his ass," or whatever.
She went hunting.
Sorry for the cursing again.
Trying to hunt him down, right? You guys all went to try and find him. Find the person.
Yeah, and then he was gone. He was probably going to check out.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, thinking about that. But it was weird because I saw the stop. I heard him stop. I saw a movement.
But Jillian did.
Yeah, and then Jillian had no reason to even say that to me. I don't even think we told her about that stuff yet.
She was freaked out.
So then that, kind of scared us a little bit. I told you right away.
Because the prayer wasn't open.
The prayer was not open.
Right.
Mike Boom. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
it was...
Something got through.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
That was crazy.
Because you've had some other things, too, which we'll talk about, later.
And that was like when I had my guard down, kind of. Because I wasn't even thinking. I was with my mom and my sister at a food store.
Chips, minding business.
Yeah. So that happened. back. Just like, sorry, that's funny. Yeah, so, the giant trip happened and all that was crazy. And we were just like, what does this mean? What is going on right now? The multiverse of everything that was going on was interjecting and, mixing together at this point, which I guess it is.
Well, what was out then too, which we watched a lot, was Stranger Things.
Oh yeah, Stranger Things.
There was a lot of parallel things.
Yeah.
In our world that was from like the series.
Weird. Then there were different things too, though, like with the specifics of stuff. But some of it was like weird.
Yeah.
How whatever it was.
I remember talking about it then.
Yeah.
Too.
Then just having like another family member like experience it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I never would have wanted like anyone to see something like that.
Some of the things you've seen. Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know, like it's kind of freaky.
Yeah.
And your twin
you didn't
sister.
know what you didn't know at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
But even when the spirits are upset and very concerned, it's even more concerning.
Yeah, I remember.
They can see what's around you too,
which is crazy. That they're like there with you. They're like your buddy without even knowing they're there.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But then after that, we had some questions like, what was that? Who was that? Why was that? That was those were our
about
questions.
These things, not that specific guy,
but that interaction. Like, why was that even able to happen?
Was it similar? Well, you didn't see.
We didn't even know what it was.
Right, and you
was
didn't
it even
see,
spiritual
the mouth,
at the time?
like at Eddie's Eats.
Yeah, because I didn't see it. But Jillian
we
said
did then see in the mouth. When they snarled at us.
Yeah, that was.
Was it like that? She wasn't with us, so she doesn't know.
She said he just made like a mean mug face at you, like a dog or something.
Yeah.
And we didn't even know if it was related to all the stuff that we had going on. Maybe he was just a weirdo. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe I looked punchable that day for some reason. I don't know.
Could be.
But on to the next part. This is kind of crazy, and I hope you guys stay with us on this part. So we continue going to Gettysburg, as we always do. And one of the soldiers, the one who saved me when I was about to fall and hit my head and crack it open, I think we talked about it, Robert, in the Vermont cavalry area.
He was a Confederate soldier.
Confederate. The gray sleeve I remember seeing, and then Caitlin
saw the gray sleeve, him
she saw
grabbing you when you
and I saw him.
Down. Yeah, you saw him. His whole...
Because I tripped. I tripped over a little thing, but there was a rock right where my head was going to land.
Yeah.
Like a big rock sticking out of the ground, and I was like, oh, that probably would have been bad. So, we had a couple people see that happen, and what the...
Like, she was behind you.
I didn't even know what happened. Like, it was just so quick, and I was up, and I was like... Yeah.
And what did he do, nod to you? Like,
got
you?
I remember he was, laughing a little bit, but I was like, what the... Because I was about to fall, and then all of a sudden you're up without anyone. I thought it was Caitlin, and I looked back, and she was not near. She was back a little bit. I was like, oh.
But she told me she witnessed that. So
yeah, shout out to Caitlin too.
Yes. We'll get her on here someday.
So
and her dad Gary.
Yeah. So getting back to Robert, the Confederate. So he actually had some information to give us.
Don't forget Chuck too, right? Chuck.
Just giving name drops, but
shout out.
So we got to him, and he was giving us information. Now.
This was at a later time, right?
Yeah, it was.
Was
do you
this?
Think it was fall of 2019?
Was that? I'm just thinking. Weren't we with my friend Shelley and Mick then? That night, I think
we may have been. Yeah.
When we talked about the car pulling up next to my car and then seeing this burnt out circle, it was that night.
Yeah.
And then
that was weird.
When we went to the Vermont cavalry field, right? Before Big Round Top, so it's on your left as you're driving around the one way. That's when Robert came up to you then.
Yeah.
That night, I believe.
Yeah.
They were there too.
Yeah.
And what'd he say?
So he was saying this thing, like, first he was making it known that he knew what the thing was, or like any evil thing. I guess he was talking in regards to. He said they will never see your current face.
They will never know who you are.
Yeah.
While you're alive, or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yes.
Yeah. So he was saying that, and he was saying there's like a big bright light being projected where your face should be. And he says, so when something bad sees that, that's all they can see. And it's like, it blasts them so that they know that you're there and they can't do anything until, like, if you did something, if you go out of your way to engage with that, then it's probably fair game for anyone to take a swing at whoever. But he made it sound like you have this thing that's, projecting and they won't be able to see you. And I forget if he said something about the past lives too. I think he did. Whether like we've had those lives too or whatever, or like if they can make it so they see a different face if they were to see someone. So it's not the current face of what you got going on. And this all sounds crazy. Because it is, quite frankly.
Well, like it said, we know you're here.
Yeah. We
can hear you. We can't see you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, which is...
So, but we're like, what do you mean we? Right?
Yeah.
We means plural, not one, not I, right? I can't see, but we, so that's kind of scary.
We.
Yeah.
Twiddling the little...
So, but that, at the time, we're like, what do you mean we?
Yeah, and, I don't even know. Like, it's crazy. Was it like more than one soul? There's so many things.
Well, whatever this thing is, we don't even know.
Could it be was it once human and it just turned into a blob of whatever, like just absorbing people, or what is this thing? Was it always just an evil conjured thing that's just been feeding, or is it like there's so many questions that we have unanswered?
You can tell them a little bit about what Robert said about one of the soldiers.
Oh, so there was a soldier that tried to give up.
This is amazing. So
Robert, this is crazy.
Who's a spirit telling you something that's going on in the now. So not from way back.
This will blow your mind.
Now this is like we're like, is this now? And they said yes.
Yes.
So what did he say? Sorry to interject, but
stop that, pal.
Yes.
No. So he told me that there was a Union soldier who tried to give up information about us,
right,
who had met us before in 20th Main area. And I don't even remember, if I remembered a name or anything. I'm sure a name came or whatever. Yes. But then everyone else caught wind of what he was doing. He was trying to leak information about us because he was promised, or there was some type of deal. Again, it's the same type of deal that keeps on coming. You get something in return. We give you this.
Like good versus evil.
Yeah.
Even today, everything that's in the world, everything.
Yeah.
This is what it comes down to: good versus evil.
Exactly.
But he said what? They said they have him in captivity.
Yeah, they had him
like a jail cell in the woods. This is what you were saying to me.
Yeah,
at the
I remember back in the deep area.
And they said, do not go off the trails.
Yeah.
Because he's in it like a makeshift jail, because he was going to tell whatever this dark side who we are. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I mean, we can't even make this stuff up. When he told us, we're like, what? And he just said, don't venture off the trails.
Yeah.
He said that could be dangerous for you guys, and don't ever come alone. Also, we were told.
Yeah.
Either one of us, or most people don't go there alone and start opening up prayers and conduits and portals, right?
Definitely.
That you need, protection, obviously.
So that was something so crazy.
It blew us away.
Because how could that even, you don't think that would happen? Oh, someone on the other side is doing what? They're trying to give who what about us? We were like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can wrap around your mind and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But then when I heard that this person was trying to give us up to whatever this thing is, I was like, what is going on? Like, what kind of deal
Yeah.
was that enticing that you really wanted to do this?
And some, I mean, some of our future shows will have some more things that might tie it together a little more, talking to some of the other leaders from Gettysburg that we spoke to that you did.
Exactly. But yeah, I think I like that as a place to stop, everyone.
Okay.
I hope you guys enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, we have a lot to, lot to take in, and we're unsure. If you guys want to send us comments or questions, we will try our best. First off, we apologize because we're idiots and we didn't realize there was messages and comments and some really good questions. So we want to try and hit those and answer some of those too. So thank you. We appreciate you guys. God bless.
Feel free to message.
Happy Independence Day coming up next week. So God bless America. So
God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye.